Question 481. Some say that the arc of history curves towards justice. Do you think things are improving or getting much, much worse?
And I think, oh yay, Jeff's back. I think at the
there.
moment, we are living in probably, if you're judging by general quality of life for the most people, we're living in probably the best time our species has had thus far.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it can depend on what your judgment is. I can, or what your rubric is for making that judgment. I can understand.
And where you live in the world.
And where absolutely where you live in the world is everything.
But
because there are places where,
if you're talking about general behavior of people, we're about the same.
Yeah, that's
I don't think we've actually got much better in our behavior as a species. We've just got better at policing each other.
I kind of missed the question whilst I got kicked out.
We are absolutely we're absolutely living in the golden age of humanity right now. This is the best it's ever been for pretty much everyone on the planet. Where even in the parts of the world that are shit, they're less shit than they have been in the past. The only thing we've got is that's bad at the moment is this disease that's going around. But as far as
climate change,
climate change is pretty. Yeah.
Dave, you used the word justice, right?
60,000 years ago, there was a land bridge between Australia and New Guinea, so climate change always happens.
Oh! No. Wait a minute.
That's true.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
That's not denying man-made climate change currently, but
he's not
climate
wrong.
change has always been a factor.
Climate has changed periodically in the course of our history.
Yes.
About 7 times in the last 650 years, but not to this extreme and not because of man-made causes.
No,
climate
absolutely.
change as it is now is completely different from climate change. The climate changing in the time, as it has in the history of our planet.
Yeah, I do
absolutely.
worry that my great nephew is going to when he's my age, things might be worse, might be much worse because of climate change.
Definitely
for
will
him.
be.
So.
Dave,
Yes, I know they will. I know. I'm sorry.
I think we're
I
well
was
aware
trying to
of
be
it
optimistic. Damn
now
it.
enough.
Shush!
No,
Shush! Amanda.
you spoke about justice.
Yes.
Right. I just want to talk about America for a second, not the rest of the world. We have a real justice issue here. Shut the fuck up, Chris. We have a serious justice issue here.
Yeah, we do.
Do I need in all
He's fucking right. We incarcerate more people than anybody else.
Do I need to drop out? Or
No, this isn't about politics. Cool. No, it's just the prison system in our country. I actually wrote a paper on it a couple of years ago, and it's a problem in our country especially compared to the rest of the first world. It's a real issue, not only with race, but there's so many people in our prisons that shouldn't be.
I mean, in terms of
about justice.
You're right. In terms of classifying historical times, at no point in history have there been more people in jail
in America,
as more of a population, right?
Yeah.
The question is how would you compare that to societies that had mass slavery, where you had a slave culture?
That was us too. So
no, I wouldn't.
We did.
It's okay.
You did.
I was making Chris uncomfortable.
No.
I'm trying to bring it back to past.
Okay. So let's talk past. Okay. This is not the biggest time of mass incarceration. The biggest time of mass incarceration would be 18th century Britain, when they didn't have enough room in the prisons, and they actually had prison barges on the Thames River.
Oh, right.
And they had to send people to initially America and then to Australia because there was such an overpopulation, overcrowding in the prisons. So this is not. We are not living in the worst. We are living in history at the moment. And also, okay. So for those who don't know, I'm a historian. We are living through history right now with what's going on. But as far as the prisons, things like that. America isn't the world.
It's been much.
I didn't say you were. It's been much worse in the past, and certainly 18th century Britain absolutely takes the cake.
I was just saying specifically in America right now, we have a real fucking problem. That's all.
No, and I would agree. I have to agree with Chris there. I think on, things are better now. They're better now than they were when I was a kid.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, they're better now when I was a terrified bisexual teenager, right? I mean, the term pansexual didn't even exist then. That's a part of my identity now. I mean, yeah, things are better.
Right, quickly in the chat. 9 o'clock hero says the arc of history curves towards the victors. Sam says data shows it's improving overall. Sam says if we don't behave better, I don't think outcomes would improve like they have. If we didn't behave better. Jones says in general we're going the right way, but I'm looking with some apprehension towards America.
So am I.
You're right there in the middle of it.
America's fine.
Tom says I'd much rather be in an what? This is so he wants no politics, and he says that.
No. What I'm saying is, it's all over in 4 years. It's all over in 4 years. America's fine. America's got
the
issues,
Supreme Court appointments are for life, and that won't be over in 4 years. And we're probably going to lose Roe v. Wade. So thanks, goodbye to my bodily autonomy.
No, you won't lose that. It's as messed up as America is. You won't lose that.
I'll just have to go.
There are high court challenges to it at the moment, Chris. So.
Can your president
it in the states?
Just wait.
Can
your president refuse to sign something into law?
Yeah.
Yes. He can veto.
Presidential veto, I believe it's called.
Oh, you're screwed then.
I know.
It's basically the same as the Queen in the UK or the Governor General in Australia.
Yeah,
so
he has an awful lot more power.
Yes,
I mean,
you're not meant to have.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the Queen is not likely to actually veto anything that's gone through Parliament. And
we'd be a Republican we'd be a Republic the next day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But if I'm understanding this correctly, even there's even a misunderstanding about the House of Lords' role for legislative veto, because people think that means they can just stop a bill. My understanding is it goes through the Commons. They can delay a bill and ask for a bill to be amended. It's
three times.
It's 3 times. It's not like a. It's not.
Lords can stop a bill. Lords can stop a bill, but because they're along party lines, they generally won't.
No, they can't. No, after the budget, the Lords cannot. If the Commons want something to go through, the Commons can make it go through. All the Lords can do is delay it.
They can ask for amendments.
They can ask for amendments. You're right. They can throw it out, and the Commons can reintroduce it, and they can do it 3 times, and then it goes through.
Oh yeah. Same as us. Yeah.
Literally, the Lords has power to delay. They just can't. Hopefully, they're meant to improve.
Yeah, but in that case, I think it triggers an election, and it's got to be the right circumstances.
It does for us. I'm not sure it does in the UK, Chris.
No, we've got no triggering.
We're Westminster, so I mean we're different. We've got the Senate rather than the Lords, so it's a bit different. But
I think our Senate has a little bit more capabilities of saying no to things.
Ironically, as much as I study Australian politics, American politics is the second one I study, and British I haven't really touched on, apart from knowing that my family potentially has a hereditary seat in Lords. So look out! I might.
Oh, you should claim it.
Clement, I'm going to. How did you end up as a Conservative?
Would you be a Lord, Chris? Do we have to call you Lord Pastor?
Atheist Lord.
Pastor, yeah.
Atheist Lord.
Lord Pastor, yeah.
Atheist Lord. I like that.
Atheist Lord. Oh, that's even better.
I just love the fact that Darth Dawkins will have to refer to you as Lord.
Oh, you make him as well.
Oh,
No, my lord, not just lord, my lord.
Yeah.
Oh god, I've got to read this. Just wait. Oh, too. Tom says the arc of history in 2020 also makes excuses for everyone, even the losers. Someday we'll have sympathy for the Nazis.
Oh, for fuck's sake! No, we won't.
Nazis killed my fucking family. They could fuck
Yeah.
off.
Thank you, Amanda. No, we will not.
No.
It's not. That's stupid. That is. You know what that is? That's a slippery slope fallacy, right there.
It is.
Just pure hyperbole. That was pure hyperbole.
Robert says, well, the UK used to have the biggest prison ever. We called it Australia.
Wasn't the US
But
used as a prison as well?
No.
Yeah, and the US when
And the US is slightly bigger than Australia, so hey, you guys win.
yeah, but also like what's cool about that is that that's how Junk Shop came into existence. He's descended from some of those deportees directly. So if Great Britain hadn't done that, he wouldn't exist. I like it.
If the US hadn't had their War of Independence, Australia wouldn't have been settled.
There's a very strong historical argument for that. Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
it's not even an argument.
You think it's not even? It's just a set thing for sure.
Absolute fact. Absolute
Okay.
fact. Because once that happened, they looked for options, and New Zealand was the one they originally were going to go with. But then Joseph Banks, who was the botanist on the Endeavour in 1770, he pushed for Australia to be that one because he could be the government advisor and get paid quite a bit of money, even though he'd spent 2 days there 16 years earlier. So,
Wow.
I mean, Australia would have been settled, just possibly by someone else. It would have been settled eventually.
It would have been the Dutch, probably.
No, the French. The French actually arrived a few days after the first fleet, La Perouse. So we've actually got a suburb in Sydney called La Perouse, which is where La Perouse actually landed, which was about a week after the first fleet. So
but the Dutch was getting out Western Australia, so Australia could have ended up being a split.
If the Dutch were going to settle it, they would have settled it back in the 17th century. They were there in 1646. So
yeah.
We're talking 142 years later that it actually got settled. So the Dutch weren't doing anything.
The Dutch, I mean, a lot of the Dutch sort of assets the British kind of took over after William of Orange came to be our king, like the Dutch East India Company, for example. You know.
Yeah, it was only ever going to be the British or the French.
You could have ended up like Canada.
Possibly, if it had gone another 50 years, maybe the Germans, because it's in or maybe 100 years actually for the Germans, because they started to want that imperial, sort of that empire after they became Germany. But anyway. No one came here for the history lecture, so...
No, we should skip to the next question. People get shouted at.
It's good to do something educational for a change.
Wait,
it
Dave.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you get a historian on and you ask a history question. So.
Yes, exactly.
Dave,
Amanda?
did you answer?
No.
Answer, please.
I think virtually every statistic shows that we are living in generally in the best in the best time we've ever lived. I think there are definitely arguments to be made against specifics. I think you take an individual, there is a reasonable chance that their life is worse than their parents or their great grandparents. But on average, everyone is better off. If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.